Who will guide a reader through your story, your characters, and your environment? That's what a point of view or voice will do. As a writer, use point of view or voice as a tour guide for the reader into the narrative you write. It's not only important to think what the story is, but who will tell your story. Now, critics and writers will use voice and point of view interchangeably on a technical level. Point of view refers to the perspective or lens used to tell the story. Voice refers to how the point of view is shared, how the lens is shared. So, first person, that's point of view. Stream of consciousness is voice. That's how we technically describe it. As writers, we use both terms pretty often to refer to who is telling the story and how. So to recap point of view, you have first person point of view. That's where you're writing from the point of view of I. So let me tell you what I remember about going to Georgia for business. You would write that if you were first person. Second person point of view, like, you remember you were in Georgia for a business trip. Third person, that's where you're describing it from the point of view of they, he, she, it. Like, an old Parson Wilbanks sat by the window remembering his business trip in Georgia. Your voices vary on what point of view you use. For first person, since you use a character in the story, choose what character to use and define how they would talk or write. Someone from North Georgia is probably going to talk a little more country like this. You may write stream of consciousness, so define how they think. For instance, how would an anxious person think? Third person point of view requires a clear choice. You may write knowing everything about every character, and your narrator shares or divulges all that information. That's what we would call omnipotent or omnipresent, third person omnipotent. You also may write in a limited voice, third person limited. This is where you're writing as if you're a fly on the wall, where you cannot share any character's thoughts or feelings. You only share what a fly on the wall would see in this specific circumstance. Like I said, these voices, these points of view, these are serving as like a tour guide for your story. So it's quite crucial to choose how you want to tell the story. What lens are we viewing the story with? Here's a checklist I like to use when I'm trying to figure out what point of view or voice I'm going to use. Who tells the story best? What character serves as the compelling guide for your story or poem, even if they're not the most compelling character? And what does your reader need to know? And who has that information? In The Great Gatsby, we could go from Jay Gatsby's point of view, but Nick Carraway has all the information about all the characters. So he's a really useful first-person point of view of the story that happens in The Great Gatsby. The most important thing about voice is consistency. Don't change point of view or voice within a text. It will read as jarring for the reader. Make sure if you're going to choose first person, stick to first person. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook.